Hello student, I have recently uploaded top 50 DBMS MCQ question. So in this video, I'll solve top 50 OOPs question MCQ. Not only question, I will explain all the theory related to the OOPs you should know for your exam point of view or interview. And I have included C++ pseudocode because LTI Mindtree in their exam asked directly C++ pseudocode from the OOPs. Also, if you are preparing for any exam where actually CS fundamental important are OOPs concept, even if your interview, must watch this video. So first I'll explain the theory OOPs, then we'll try to solve the question. First, you should know the OOPs theory. OOPs actually object oriented programming system. It consists two things. One is class and another actually object. So class, like you want to build your home. So first you need to design your home or making need to make plan. So that design or plan or you can say blueprint. So blueprint actually class. This one actually class. And object, the real world entity after you build home. So that is real world and that has actually physical existence. So that is actually object. And object consists of memory. Only class no need any memory. When you create object, that time memory actually allocation. The class consists two things. One is attribute. Attributes mean variable name you can see. And second is functionality like function name. And object, when you create the object, then you can use this attribute and functionality. So that is class and object. And OOPS has four pillars. So that is the main part of the OOPS. I'll explain everything each in details. Like not code, only theory. First, encapsulation. Encapsulation means like data binding, data plus member or function binding. Like you saw capsule tablet or you saw capsule tablet capsule, there's a two part. One is red and one is black or something any color you can say red black. So two parts. So that is like red one data and member mean method. So together binding or you can say making private data. So that is encapsulation. And next is abstraction. Abstraction actually hiding details, but so necessary things. Hiding details, but so hiding, but so दिखाओ. मतलब जितना जरूरी है उतना देखो बाकी दिखाने का जरूरत नहीं. Like you are calling someone, you don't know how internal working. Okay, internal कैसे work करे calling जब call करो you don't know. Just you are calling. So that is the abstraction. And inheritance. Inheritance like a children inherit property of his father or mother of its parent. So that is inheritance. So there's a one class. A class has a like method like so. And I am creating another class B which is inherit class A and property so. So that is inheritance. And inheritance, I'll explain the types of inheritance also. And polymorphism, you should know all the real life example. I have already given you. Polymorphism like me. For you, teacher, for like me, for someone can be teacher, someone can be friend or brother or son. So that is polymorphism. Same person, behavior different. So that's called actually polymorphism. And difference like either ability and object take many form. तो एक ही ऑब्जेक्ट होगा लेकिन many forms. So that is called polymorphism. Now types of inheritance. I'll explain polymorphism type also. So पहले inheritance का type देखो. So inheritance type first is simple. Like one class से one class drive. Simple means class A to drive class B. So that is called simple inheritance. Give me example. So that's one actually simple inheritance. So class vehicle from base class and drive class car. So that is simple inheritance. And the second is multi-level. So multi-level is when you have class A like your grandfather, then your father, then you. Your grandparent, then your parent, then you. So that is three level, or that is called multi level. That can be increased. That is multi level. Class vehicle, then four wheeler, then class car. And the next is multiple. Multiple like from your father, mother, you can example like class A and B. and creating from using class A and class B. I'm creating C. So C have like access of class B property, also can inherit class A property. So this C. So that is called multiple. And this multiple actually does not support in Java and causing the diamond head problem. The next one, drive class. So that's one actually hierarchy. So that's one hierarchy. Like from the one class, if you drive more than two, from the one class you have drive B and C. So that is hierarchy level. And the last is hybrid. Like from this class you can drive another and this class drive for another. So that is a hybrid mixture of all. Hybrid, the last one. So that is the inheritance and polymorphism. I have already explained. Polymorphism two types. There is a runtime. You should know. One is compile time. When actually run the program, compile time, PILE, compile time, and second is run time. And this compile time polymorphism consists of two things. One is function overloading and operator overloading. Function overloading and operator. I'll explain, don't worry. Operator overloading. And the runtime actually method overriding. Runtime is dynamic and it is static. You can say this one is static and this one dynamic. And dynamic polymorphisms in C++ use virtual function to solve some problem. So that is method overriding. So that is polymorphism. I have already explained what is polymorphism. Now function overloading and operator overloading. Don't worry, I'll explain. Like you have one function, fun, like fun f1. This is function, and you have creating this function x in a class A. Now if you create another function with the same signature, same name, but you are passing the variable like string y. So that is called function overloading. Same function name but argument defined. Here can be argument defined this return type. Here you can say is return type string or float. Any argument defined or any number of argument you can pass. If argument defined, so that is called function overloading. And operator overloading plus doing like a 5 plus 6 is 7, but using class this operator plus operator you can write as a multiply. You can modify the behavior as a multiply. And the method overriding mean you have creating one class A where actually method like so. Okay, and I'm printing like print high. And from this class I am inheriting class B from the class A. So it is inheritance. And here I want to write so. So B class inheritance A. So B has a inheritance this so method, but I need to override here. So here actually I need to use the virtual function. Virtual or here actually use the virtual one. Virtual so here actually print hello or B. So that is called overriding method. Because this method already declared in the parent class, you need to override. So that is overriding. Then if you have any doubt, you can ask. I have already explained all the theory you should know for the interview point of view also. Let's try to solve all the question. The first question. Which of the following best describe encapsulation binding data and method together in a class? So done. Now solving question will be become easy. Which OOP principle allows same function name to be used with different parameter? That is polymorphism function overloading. Now which I need to tell there is a axis specifier. So there's a in the class there's a three axis as well. One private, actually for public and protected and default. So actually in C++ default actually private. If you are not declaring any member, so it will become private. Private mean if you define a class and you are doing like private, I am making private for any language, not only C++, for Java also. Private like a one variable name int x. So this x you can't access outside of the class. Like your inheritance B. B, you are making B class which intends property of A, but you can't access this X because you have made it private. And if you are making it public, you can access from anywhere. If you make protected, if you make protected like this one .cp file, you can access here. But if another making cp file like cpp2, from this cpp2 you can't access if this one protected. And default by default actually private. So who is access as specifier in C++ make member visual only inside the same class. Inside the same class mean private. Move to next one. Which of the not type of polymorphism? I have already explained compile, runtime, static polymorphism. So dynamic. So there is a no abstraction, dynamic abstraction, not polymorphism. Constructor in C++. Constructor mean when you're creating object, like you have making one class. Okay, in any language, when you're creating object class A and the object name, you're passing something. When actually creating this object, it will call one special function. That function actually called constructor. And the constructor actually in the C++ and Java you can write this class name actually constructor name, and you can declare any variable in this constructor. In Python actually constructor function init or initialize. So that is a special function. Creating only when object creation. Like I'm showing like dog, my dog, like one object I have created. So my dog I object created, it will always create here not constructor. If there's a no constructor present, it will by default call one constructor. Like demo, yes. You can see this demo t should be get object like demo t1. So let's move into the next question, it will be better. So constructor when like at the time of object creation. Now read this question. You have a base class C. First, you have base class, one safe base class, which you have function. So I guess so. Draw, not so. Draw. You have function draw. Okay. And a drive class circle. You have drive one class circle, which is drive mean inheritance safe. Okay. And you if you store circle object is safe asterisk. So I'm creating like safe asterisk pointer. Okay. OBJ which actually store at the rate circle object. Okay. Now pointer and call draw. Now this object actually object if you call draw. So this which one call function? From the circle draw or shape draw? By default it will call shape draw. If you want dynamic you should use the virtual function to call this draw. So it's called circle draw or circle not shape draw, shape draw. But if you want to call the circle draw, so you should need virtual. Okay, this one shape draw using pointer. Suppose you want to restrict creating more than one object. Actually, this one solid principle. No need solid principle. Is a single station. This one actually single station can work only creating one object per class. Like a company has an employee class. Now company का employee है. First read the question. Employee class. Now employee class. Now for contract and permanent employee. There's a two type of employee. Employee is a contract. Other contract हो सकता है or is a permanent. Permanent contract. So is a relation mean inheritance and can be salary also. So employee have salary and the contract employee also have salary. The salary may be different and this permanent also different. So need to override. Need to override. So override means polymorphism. Is a means inheritance. So it is inheritance plus polymorphism. Moving to the next one. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Your design banking system. Customer must see only balance, deposit, and withdraw method, but don't not database connection. So that is actually abstraction, na? Customer must only see balance, which is actually necessary, and hiding other details. So that is abstraction. I have already explained. You can try this question in online exam system. Different type of questions. Share a common interface question. Who is OOP feature? So defines it should be inheritance and polymorphism with inheritance. Now move to the next one. Now, till if you have any doubt, you can ask. I'm trying to copy this one. It will better. So, like I have already explained the constructor, the same like have destructor, destructor, whatever called. Destructor mean when object काम खत्म हो गया, जब ऑब्जेक्ट वर्क और स्कोप डन और ऑब्जेक्ट का जब एंड हो जाएगा ना तब डिस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा. जैसे ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएशन हुआ तो डिलीटेशन भी होगा, नीड टू डिलीट, सो दिस डिलीट विल बी डन डिस्ट्रक्टर एंड दिस वन एक्चुअली डिस्ट्रक्टर और डिस्ट्रक्टर व्हाटएवर प्रोनाउंसिएशन. तो जब ऑब्जेक्ट का काम और स्कोप खत्म हो जाएगा और एंड, so that time it will call destructor. So देखो constructor कैसे कॉल होते हैं. Constructor first it will call the parent constructor, then child one by one. First above upper to child and destructor होता है पहले child, first child then upper or parent. So first I am drive one object. So basically I am creating base object one C++, as I have mentioned LTI Mindtree in their exam. They have given C++ pseudocode and oops. So class drive which is public. So all the object actually had public, all the part, and this is inheritance. So drive object this one. So when creating object, so it will call the constructor. So first parent constructor. So it will be pin B. Then this D. Now this part done. Now is there any code? Not. So object need to be delete. Once delete, it will call first child. So D. Then its parent destructor B. If you do not like mention a destructor, it will automatically call by default, but it will not print anything. But if you want to make your, you can make destructor. Move to next one question. This one again. Like demo D1, so we are creating D1, D2 object, and this one demo class and demo that's one actually constructor. So creating object is called constructor, and by default a equal to 5. For the D1, it should be equal to 5. That is 5, 10 answer. Easy question. Like I'm creating first d1 object, so it will call the constructor that is demo. So int a 5 x equal to a, so I am not passing any value, so a equal to become 5. So for the d1 a object or a actually hold 5 and that is public, so it's public, I can access this function d1 dot get, so it will print 5 and d2 I'll pass 10, so it will a equal to 10 and x equal to 10. So for the d2 10, if I print d1 dot get, it will return x, so x for the 5 and here 10. So that's answer 5 and 10. Move on to the next one. This one virtual, I have already explained, can try yourself what will be the output. Virtual, I have already the a function b. Now if you print this one, print b, this is virtual. Now static, so static actually no class share common across all the class. So static memory, this one you have created static. So static by default value always be 0, and it is share the memory across all the object. तुम जितना भी object create करो पहले s1 create किया, so it will call the constructor and count plus plus, so it will create 1. It will only declare one time, not 2 or 3 times. And if you call s2, so count plus again it will increase to, not actually assigned from the 0. So it is shared memory across all the object s3, so total 3. Now this is static. So this static function or static function object function is under the class static function. It only take the static variable. So count actually static variable, yes. So it will take, like if you have declared one x here and if you want to access this x, it will not possible. Only static member or function can be accessed. So count actually static. So the value 3. So it will return 3. So answer is 3. Now this one, can you try yourself? This one actually function overloading. So this 5.5 mean double. So 5.5 mean real integer. So that is actually double. So double mean which function will be called? So double y. So this base and y means 5.5. Which operator can be overloaded in C++? This one actually resolution operator or scope resolution operator. Already seen scope resolution operator. This structure in C++ automatically call when object goes out of scope. जब तुमने object का काम ही सब कुछ खत्म हो जाएगा ऐसे कॉल हो जाएगा. If a class has at least one pure virtual function, तो pure virtual function जब भी होगा ना, it is actually abstract class. Abstract class actually pure virtual function. एक प्योर वर्चुअल फंक्शन होना चाहिए एंड यू कांट डायरेक्टली लाइक अगर तूने प्योर वर्चुअल फंक्शन क्रिएट किया यू कांट डायरेक्टली क्रिएट ऑब्जेक्ट डायरेक्टली so that is one thing so that is abstract class which one of the true about the friend function actually in C++ have friend function which can access private and protect a member of a class and also it is violated encapsulation because private I have made private because data binding and and friend function can access that data so it is violate the property of encapsulation and it has access to private and protected member so and it is not a member of the class also so all the above that is actually definition of private fun friend function in C++. Which of the following is not possible in C++? First of all, multiple inheritance, operator overloading, virtual constructor, multiple inheritance possible. Operator overloading possible, function overloading possible, virtual constructor not possible. Virtual destructor possible, but not constructor. We got it? Virtual function are resolved. Virtual function already I mentioned runtime. Copy constructor is invoked when object passed by value. What does mean copy constructor? First, copy constructor nothing like you are creating an object using existing object. So pass obj1 obj like you have obj1 and you want to create obj2 and exactly same. So that is really copy constructor. In copy constructor you can pass by value passed or object return from a function new object created for existing one all the above. Inheritance which may cause ambiguity due to multiple base class. That's actually virtual base class answer. Like you have inheritance A and you are creating from the B and C like creating D. Now here actually void like so. Now B has a path can go from here and can go from here. So that's called problem. Or index may cause ambiguity due to multiple base class. So is resolved by virtual base class. You can see virtual base class से resolve होता है. So static functioning class I have already explained only static member. In C++, which constructor is called when no argument are passed? If you do not pass any argument in a constructor, the default constructor, like you are implement twisting already present, you need to override twisting. In Java, twisting function already present, you need to overriding. So you can directly answer polymorphism. Now, manager is an employee. So is a relation means inheritance, and has a means aggregation. So car has an engine that is aggregation or composition. Now, a drive class override base class method and you call it using base class reference variable which principal ensure correct version. So that is function overriding and runtime you can directly answer. A drive class override base class. Override is mean function overriding and you call it using base class reference. Reference mean pointer and when it comes to pointer I have already explained that is runtime. So function overriding plus runtime. Which are the following not an advantage of कौन सा एडवांटेज नहीं है कोड reusability yes I am using the same code again modality yes procedure mean function not this one not easy maintain yes so that's C. Now in C++ if class B inherit class A private अगर class A है and B अगर class B ने private करके inherit किया so all the member and A here become private so B private in B so then member of A become private in a B. Now, which inheritance type cause of diamond problem? So that is multiple. Why? Like I have already explained, this one actually diamond head problem. So multiple inheritance cause the diamond head problem. Like like here actually have constructor A. Now from the D you have two paths, you need to follow this path or need to follow this path. But you can solve in C++ and Python you can solve the diamond problem, but Java can't support this one. In C++ using virtual and scope resolution you can solve. You should know this diamond problem with code. A library has many books. The has a relation means aggregation. Inheritance promote code reusability. You have defined like some code and you have made like in a class, like you have create like void salary, and now you are using that interface. So same code you are using, which constant in C++ is called when create an object you should know default. And now when drive class object creates order of constant I have already explained. First the base class, then drive. Not random or compile dependent, don't say that. Which the following can't be declared as a virtual? Already explained constructor you can't declare. And this can you answer this one in the comment? Now function I have already explained this order. First it should be answered drive, that not base then drive. No, don't drive. The last one then base. 1 minute. So first if you have A and B, this one actually drive then base. So it should be drive then base. And for the first one, then first one base then drive. Now function overloading result at overloading. Function at overriding. So overloading compile time. Now function overriding require function name signature overriding. Overriding means base and drive class. So only one answer. Now if two base class have same method and drive inherit both, ambiguity is solved using scope resolution operator. Like I'm giving one example, it is actually C++ question or multiple inheritance. Like A and B, there's a base class. Now we have drive C. Now A has show function and also B has show function. Now you are calling using C object, you have created object like using C create object 1, and I'm calling object 1 dot show. Now it will be confused which one I need to call, this one or this one. So you can easily solve this problem using object resolution, like object resolution b dot show something, object resolution operator. You can directly solve. There's a object resolution operator something present. Okay, and here you can solve this object resolution operator. So that is actually object resolution or scope resolution operator. Which polymorphism technique use vtable? Vtable in virtual function, actually function overriding this one. Which keyword used in Java implement abstraction? That is abstract keyword. Which of the following insert data hiding mean private? So you can directly answer private. Abstract class can contain only pure virtual function plus normal method. Pure virtual function need, but plus normal method can be contained. Static variable in a class share for all object across all object. Per object नहीं, the static variable थे across all object. So answer B. And the 17th question, we have total reached 47 question. Now, Tina, if you have any doubt, you can ask. If you find this channel helpful, do subscribe. Which is true about friend function? I have already explained friend function. Friend function define a class within friend keyword, but it can access private and protected member. Is inherited by drive class not? So only A and B answer. Now, who is keyword C++ is a diamond pollen? I have already explained that is virtual. Now, who is an example of composition? A car has an engine. Engine cannot exist independently. So basically two things. A car has an engine. A car has engine. The engine can be existence. Like engine can be existence. Here mentioned engine cannot exist independently. So that is a strong composition or a strong aggregation. But student has a library that is actually composition aggregation but not strong, because card can exist independently. like एक स्टूडेंट चला गया लेकिन उसके बाद कार्ड हो सकता है ना कार्ड. So that is the reason answer car has an engine. The last question, write your answer in the comment. You should try this one question. Till now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. If you find this channel helpful, so please do subscribe. If you need any specific company video, you can comment. I have already made video regarding like logical reasoning or company preparation, like Capgemini, PCS Equity, Mindtree, Cognizant. So let's see you in the next lecture in another topic.